good morning, evening, or afternoon, whichever one's going on for you at this current point in time. Today we're talking about the DCE512, not to be confused with the 511, the previous generation. You see that right up in there? Zoom in action. There is no port for a charger. It is not a hybrid, or not a charger, but a cord. So DEWALT did a lot of good stuff with this. However, DEWALT doesn't really care about what you have to say unless you show that you're buying $200 batteries, right? So we're going to talk about specifically how they can fix this, because it's almost perfect, but there's something that it needs. One, for the people that are complaining really quick about the whole no more cord, this is fine. This is a battery powered tool that, in case you didn't realize, IP54, it is made to be wet, to be dusty, not something you want to hook up your cord to. No, why would you want something that can get wet attached to something that dies when it gets wet? It doesn't make much sense, does it? Now, right here, you see how this says DEWALT? We know it's a DEWALT tool. You don't need a sticker here that says DEWALT. You could put little 20 volt max sticker over here somewhere so we know it's a 20 volt tool if you didn't know. But right here, there should be a small little gauge like Flex did with their batteries that says, check your battery here. You don't have to reach it. With 20 volt batteries, that goes with the power stacks, with the XRs, right? And with the standard non-XR batteries. You see the gauge? The gauge is in the back. Oh, this one's dead. But the gauge is in the back, which means that when you want to check the battery, you have to yank the battery out, check it, and then put it back. Right here, where this little sticker is, put a little gauge like the power stack. Don't use the green. This stupid green from Flex. No. Either, I mean, if you want to, I guess you can. It's your business, but I like the white LEDs from the power stack. Just make a little gauge like this and stick it right there. 3 little LEDs just to let you know where your battery's at without having to yank the batteries out. That's it. Nice little LED, simple little button. That's one. 2, let's make this brushless. I think we can ask for that. A little more runtime, a little more energy efficiency. I want to see brushless. That's not hard to ask for. I did notice that it is a little crackly, like a little bit of a whiny sound. So what I did was I took those two, I believe they're T10s, 2 T10 screws, and slapped in a little bit of this right here. A little bit of silicone lubricant. Be careful what you're spraying. Don't overspray it. Just a little bit down the shaft while the fan is pointing downward, just to kind of let that lubricant kind of get down the shaft. And it made it much quieter. Not perfect, but what DEWALT needs to do is sneak into Lasco, right? The fan company, Lasco, Ryobi Whisper. You need to find how to make quieter fans. Slightly change the design of your blades, right? Into more of a turbine type of design for your blades. And you're gonna find much more airflow. Brushless makes it more energy efficient. For the people that are complaining about the cord, I don't care about the cord. If you want to add it, go for it. I personally, it doesn't matter to me. But the last thing I want to see is, I want to see that tripod mount back. There's a lot of people like myself, if I want to sleep with this thing, let's say, if I'm in a tent or whatever, I don't want to have to set up a little table or a stool or something to keep it up or wherever. See how it's on a table? This could be a little baby tripod somewhere in the corner, just easy to move, not annoying. That's all I want to see. Tripod, brushless motor, and some kind of fuel gauge or energy gauge to let me know where my batteries are at. Again, backward facing. Ooh. Backward facing, right? Backward facing. And so the only battery that will do well in here is the flex volt, because the gauge is on the front. So if you're only using this with flex volts, then that doesn't matter to you. But if you're somebody who's, again, using a 20 volt tool, you probably have a bunch of these. That's all I'm gonna say on that. DEWALT, make it happen. And in case there's anybody who wants to hear how it sounds, this is on the absolute lowest. And again, that WD-40 did magic. It was not doing this. It was more like a sputtering sound. Here's the lowest. And pretty quiet. Crank it up a little more. A little more. A little more. All the way. So, for what it is, honestly, a very smooth... I mean, the ramping up, again, take my word for it or don't, but the ramping up is very good. I'd say right on par with Flex's fan as far as ramping up and down. It's not like these abrupt changes that can stress out the motor. But good fan, just needs the couple of tweaks that I mentioned, and it should be good as new, or newly new. That is the face of a man who is tired of reading YouTube comments with really stupid people. That being said, I have to make it very, very clear. When I say I don't care for the hybrid function, what I mean to say is that I don't believe that it should be on the front. So obviously there should be a hybrid version like the Flex where the battery sits in the back and the cord is through the back. I don't personally like that front fed type of hybrid where you're like fed under like the rigid. But this should be like the 513 should be like a better version of this with no cord, and then the 514 can have the hybrid function but probably not be waterproof. So it's a give and take. I'm not saying it as in I want people to have no option. There should be both, because honestly I would want both. I would want this one with me outside, and I would probably want the hybrid version when I'm in need of longer runtime and I'm not trying to eat through batteries. But honestly, I took this with a 9 amp hour flex volt, and I had like a day and a half between like medium, low, and high, just changing back and forth. Put it next to me, fell asleep. Great runtime. So I'm impressed with what they have now. If they were to make this brushless, it would probably get 30, 40 hours maybe, which is close to Flex, but Flex has on the 5 amp hour 46 hours on low. So that's the mark to beat, DEWALT. If you want to do it, now's the time to do it. It goes without saying, DEWALT, make your next generation obviously move more air. If this is 650 CFM, I want to see like 1,000 CFM. If Flex is moving that much air, it does not kill you to increase it by 300-400 CFM. Just saying. Didn't think I had to spell that out, but there might be some people that are like, don't you want your next generation to be stronger? Yes, obviously. I didn't think I had to specify that. Last thing I'm going to say on this is if there's anybody at DEWALT who wants to, throw around the idea of a remote, Ego is a company that with Flex, that's why they have the same similar color scheme. They are essentially putting the on and off ability in a vacuum for their shop vacs at the end of the hose instead of having to go to the body of the tool to turn your vac on and off. Same thing with Milwaukee and their dust collection. They have like Bluetooth touch so that when your tool senses that it's working, sends a signal and then turns on the dust collection. Oh, technology is so good now compared to where it was 50 years ago. And remember, people, that with this technology, this is the worst it's ever going to be. The same thing with AI. It's only going to get better and better and better. So we invest in these companies and hopefully they keep spitting out some really good tech for us to enjoy and make our lives easier. This guy is making that face because I'm talking too much, so let's wrap this up. That's all I'm going to say on that. DEWALT, make it happen. Again, keep the IP54 if you want to make it even more waterproof, awesome. But gauge, brushless, tripod mount. That's all. If you want to add the hybrid function, go for it, or don't. I don't care, but fix those 3 things and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you for listening to me complain, and work smart.